Hey everybody, this is Steven.
And this is Scooby. Welcome to yet another episode of the Feedback Podcast, where Steven and I bring music to one another in an attempt to broaden our musical horizons, and by extension, you, our listeners' musical horizons. As usual, I have beverages. Tonight I have two. I have water. Water is the nectar of life, essential for living, etc., etc. And I have the last of my root beers, which I have been thoroughly disappointed with, but like I said, they're the last of them. So next time I'll have something much better. Hopefully. I don't know. Unless I go on another rant about hydration and sugar and all the bullshit that my body requires me to do to stay alive. So, Steven, what do you have for drinks? What is your music tonight? And surprise me.
I got a surprise for you. A surprise you're probably ready for, and maybe nobody else, but that's okay. I do have my water as well. Hydrate so you don't dehydrate. And I'm breaking the norm. I didn't have a Baja Blast today. I do have some left. They will return. But I was enjoying a wild cherry Pepsi, so I thought I'd finish it and bring it to the show tonight. But for the surprise, before I get any further, we have a third person with us today, and that's James. Isn't that right?
Hello, I'm James.
What are your
My
drinks
cat
today?
says hello.
So, oh, is your cat's name James?
No, but she likes to feel involved.
Yeah, that's fair.
She's the honorary third guest.
So I'm a big beverage guy. I'm big on. I'm like the kind of guy where, especially after a show, like I buy three beverages. I need to have like hydration, flavor, and caffeine. You know?
That's the rule. That's
Yeah,
the
exactly.
trio rule.
I am one of those. But today we got a two for one. So I got my flavor and my caffeine in the form of a La Colombe triple latte. I don't know if you guys have La Colombe up there. I think they're from like Philly or something, but basically some coffee company that just does like canned coffee stuff. But I've been hooked on these. They're super good. And then I have a kiwi lemonade polar seltzer. And that is
That
my
sounds good.
hydration. Yeah, it's rad.
I've
I
got
drink
to
a lot
ask.
of seltzer.
I got to ask. So we talked about this before a few times, and we normally record later on in the evening. Why are you drinking a triple latte at
You know,
quarter to 10?
I had a feeling that was going to come up. And here's the thing. Yeah, because I was looking at the can while I was talking, and this has 230 milligrams of caffeine, which I think
Yeesh.
that's a bunch. And here's the thing. I love pissing.
Oh, all
Don't
right,
we all?
Yeah, I just drink caffeine and water so I can pee constantly.
all right. That makes sense. You heard it
nah,
here first, guys.
no, I'm on a pseudo like I don't work night shift, but my girlfriend currently works night shift, and I transportation wise, basically I have to be up until like 5. So I'm gonna be
That
up
makes
until 5.
sense.
Yep,
You're rocking the schedule for solidarity.
exactly. So we got the 9:42 p.m. Triple latte.
No, that makes sense because you're gonna put in your 9 to 5 right now.
Exactly.
Well, that's perfect. And for those of you that may know who James is, or those of you who don't, he is actually a member of the band that we're going to be listening to today. So that's the other part of the surprise, Scoobs. We're going to listen to Scorched Mind, who is James Slater. I was going to say Slattery. Jeez, James Slattery on
Oh,
drums.
guys, I gotta go.
Yeah, I messed it up. I was doing so good. We have Mike Tyre on guitar, Jim Conlon on bass, and Jake Moyer on vocals. Is that right? I do that all right?
Yes. Yep.
Perfect. Scoobs, just full disclosure here. Have you ever checked them out before?
Probably question mark. Can I say with 100% certainty that I have? No. But if I hear it and go, that sounds familiar, that's a thing that might happen.
Oh, we've done that before. We've had a few times.
Oh yeah.
James, are you familiar with this band at all?
Nope.
Intimately.
I think. Wait, this is like a Bon Jovi band, right?
Yes, it's a Bon Jovi cover band.
Nice. I'm gonna be into it.
I would say that you as a band would be classified as either metalcore or deathcore. Is that accurate? Or is that And also, while I have you here, I'm going to go ahead and throw you your first unready question. Um, how do you feel as a band being put into like certain classifications? Is that something that you're looking to do and accomplish for a sound, or are you with this band specific, or in any band for that matter, do you just want to make what feels good to your group of guys in your ear as like where your talents lie?
Yeah, sure. So I think for your first question, I think we are technically like you could lump us in as a deathcore band. I don't like doing that though because I feel like deathcore is a dirty word anymore, and it kind of immediately takes people's brains to a type of band that we are not. But in the kind of like the more old school sense, we are definitely a fusion of like death metal and like hardcore metalcore elements and stuff like that. So yes, technically deathcore, sure, if that makes sense.
No, it does.
Okay. Yeah, because I think usually if I were to say to somebody like, "Oh, we're a deathcore band," they would immediately think it's like I don't know, like Lorna Shore or something like that, and we're definitely not in that camp. And then for the other thing, yeah, I think genre. I mean, at least the way that my philosophy is, and I feel like most people should kind of operate this way because then you kind of make music that's a little bit more true to who you are. Is like genre should be an afterthought. You just make the music that you want to make that you would want to hear basically, and then you can categorize it afterwards to make it easier for people to find or whatever. But beyond that, like I don't think you should ever set out to be like we have to be this kind of band. I don't know.
That makes sense.
I think that when you are trying to, I imagine there are certainly people out there, and I've experienced some of them, who, when they form a band or when they start writing music, go into it saying, we are going to do this, and that's it, without really any sort of wiggle room when it comes to genre. But I feel like that pigeonholes you
Oh yeah.
in several different ways. One, that's all people are going to think of you as because that's all you're doing. But two, I feel like it stifles you creatively because then you're like, well, we have to stick to like the archetype of whatever this is or the outline of whatever the genre is. And if we stray from that, then suddenly we're not that genre anymore and people are going to have a problem with it.
Yeah. I think for me, like, it makes obviously when you're starting a band, it makes a lot of sense to have an idea of a direction. Like for example, for Scorched, Mike was the one who approached me initially and basically was like, "Hey, do you want to like play in a band that we're kind of just like trying to sound like Nails or something, like the band Nails, if you guys are familiar with them." But which I was like, yeah, honestly, yeah, I love that shit. It's awesome. So, but we very quickly just started to write our own. So, like, we didn't try to sound like them. We just that like the general vibe was like, hey, we want this to be kind of grindy, kind of hardcore, kind of death metal, like just a you know. But then we just started doing our own thing.
No, that's great. I was actually going to ask if you had any inspirations specifically for your band, or even if there were maybe like that, like you just mentioned, like that overarching kind of like this is the goal that we're trying to achieve. Maybe not them specifically, but with that kind of like a, oh, I want to accomplish kind of how they're accomplishing things.
Yeah,
Is there anything other than nails? I'm not familiar with nails, but
yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm into a lot of actual death metal stuff.
mhm.
So a lot of the times, like the more kind of blast beady, tremolo picky stuff that usually comes from more on my side. Jake's really into Jake and I are into a lot of the same music, but Full of Hell's another big one that we're both into. It's like very grindy, death metal-y kind of stuff. And then Jim's into a lot of like sludge and metalcore and stuff like that. So it kind of brings in some of that like slower stuff. And then Mike's big on like a lot of the, I guess, the more hardcore side of stuff. We really like Harm's Way and stuff like that. Converge.
All right. Scoobs, did you have anything else before we get into the song? I think I'm ready to go if you are anyway.
I think so. I think I'll probably have some more questions after I hear the song.
For
Um,
sure.
as I mean, not I don't tout this very much because I don't super consider myself a musician anymore, but I do like to write music here and there still in a very, very, very slow process. But I do like to learn about the creative process and methods behind songwriting, so that's probably where I'll come from, but we'll see.
I will say why I picked this song. I have a top five of of my favorites of yours,
Oh,
and
okay.
yeah, I have a top five of all the songs that you guys have put out so far, but in no particular order. But the reason I picked this one today is this one feels the most like I've been on a kick the last couple of episodes. One is coming out today.
Today, as of this recording.
I kind of go on like an old school metal deathcore kick, and I did Bring Me the Horizon. I just brought Stick to Your Guns, and now you. It's kind of been like I've been feeling that early aughts kind of hardcore grungy stuff, and this
Yeah,
song feels like it came from that era.
I got you. I got you.
So, with that being said, we're gonna listen to Dethrone by Scorched Mind with James listening with us, and he's gonna have to sit here and hear all the good things we gush about him right after this.
I can't wait to hear the song for the first time.
You've never heard this before?
No clue.
Afraid so.
Any of them die?
Just one. When you take a man's life, you're not just killing him. You're snuffing out all the things he'll ever become.
All right, so Scoobs, what did you think?
Well, it does definitely evoke what you were saying right before we jumped in. That sort of early aughts sound, especially like we've recorded a couple of episodes in fairly quick sequence over the past week because we allowed our backlog to disappear. But having gone through, as you said, we did Bring Me the Horizon, then we did Stick to Your Guns, and now we're doing this. And they all fit together. In terms of genre, you know my disdain for kind of getting ultra specific with genre when people talk about it's southern blackened grindcore, and I'm like, are we talking about Catfish or are we talking about music? But
Exactly.
it does. James, you mentioned earlier Converge, and I got a lot of that vibe. And again, I'm not a huge fan. Not I won't say I'm not a huge fan of Converge, but they're a band that I sort of listened to but never really got into. There was a phase in my life where my introduction to heavier music was really around the time when I met Steven, and we've spoken about this before, but he's the one that kind of introduced me to heavier stuff in this vein. Before that, I was a ska kid. You know, I'm listening to Catch 22 and Real Big Fish, and then they're like, here's Parkway Drive, and
Yeah.
Stick to Your Guns. It took some getting used to, and Converge is one of those bands that everyone always talked about, that everyone was like, they're so good, and I was like, I don't know. I just never got super into them. It's kind of like Radiohead. Everyone talks about how great Radiohead is, and I'm just like, ah, okay.
They're a band.
They're a band,
I
and
will
people are
say
very passionate about them.
Converge's barrier of entry to get into is decently high if you're not really kind of accustomed to that stuff. Like they're not a band that I would be like, hey, you should start with this. I'd be like, you gotta work your way there. But that being said, they're literally my favorite band. I
See,
love Converge.
but I would agree with that too, though, because I mentioned this not that long ago. It may have been on the last episode we did, but I mentioned to Steven that one of my favorite bands is Glassjaw.
Oh yeah,
And
hell yeah.
when I first heard Worship and Tribute, I was like 15, or not Worship and Tribute, the first one, Everything You Ever Wanted to Know
Yeah, yeah.
About Silence. I was like 15 years old, and I listened to it, and I was like, this is a little much. I think I'm too young for this, honestly. And then I put it away, and like 2 years later, I came back to it, and I was like, okay, I get it a little
Yep,
more now. Now that
I
I'm more
understand that.
mature.
Yep.
I think I will let you guys give some of your thoughts a little bit more, but I do just want to ask one quick question. In terms of the genre, when you're writing a song, do you find yourself putting something in and then being like, this is kind of a stereotype of this genre. Should we avoid it or should we lean into it?
Not really. Like I know what you're saying. I think there's been a maybe one or two times, maybe like in the studio specifically, where we're like, hey, should we maybe like do this? And then somebody's like, oh, that's kind of played out, and then the rest of us are like, who fucking cares? Like
Right. Like,
we just do what we want.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Because I mean, sometimes cliches are terrible, but sometimes they're cliches because they're sick. So I don't know.
Right.
You kind of do just whatever you're feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's more the way to do it. Because I think if you like, I don't know, if you shy away from it just because you're like, oh no, it's been done before, you're kind of just not sticking to your own creative vision. If you're shying away from it not because it's a decision you want to make, but you think that other people will have about it.
Yeah. Well, here I have a good example for you actually. I'm kind of glad you picked this song, Steve, because I
Perfect.
forgot. I forgot entirely about this because I haven't listened to this song in a while, and right that last line in the song,
Hmm.
where so Jake just says "fucking" and it's just like long and like we have a sample laid under that where it was one of those things where I was like, yo, we should put this under this in the studio, and everybody was like, this is stupid, but yes, it's awesome. So underneath literally the last lyric of the very end of the song, there is a sample of Nick Cage from The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. I don't know if you guys have seen that movie. It's really good, but
I haven't.
he's playing himself, and he just leans into the like the psycho Nick Cage thing. And yeah, there's just this part where he's just yelling, Nick fucking Cage. Like, it's just, but it's like psycho, like screaming it. And it's just under that lyric, which is awesome. But
Now, why didn't that make it to the final track?
no, it is. It's there.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
I need to listen again right now.
It's layered under his vocal.
Oh, so it's going to be very
Yeah.
hard to hear.
And if you know it's there, you'll know it's there.
Well, now that we have this Easter egg, I'm gonna have to listen to it specifically because like
Yeah, yeah.
I've been vibing hard to this stuff. I'm not gonna lie. Like I'm not even just because you're here to say it and because we were doing the episode. I've been listening to it pretty heavily for like a
Hell
week
yeah, dude.
straight, and that's good for
That's
me. Like normally I'll
that's
do like a
awesome.
day or two of something, and I'll take a quick break and go back to something else in general. But like every time that I've been taking my dog for a walk, and anytime I'm in the car alone, because my kid will not let me put this on, and neither will my fiance. She'll be like, "Do we have to? Really?" And I mean, if we're driving home at night and it's late, I get full reign. So
Oh
yes, this
yeah.
would go on. No one gets to say shit then, because I have to make sure that I'm awake, right?
Yep. Yep.
But if it's daytime, I get vetoed sometimes, and I get that. But anyway, I've been listening to it just nonstop because of that, and like, yeah, I don't know, I can't get past it right now. Anyway,
Well, that's awesome. I appreciate that, dude.
of course,
Yeah, next time you listen to it, just that very last line, just listen. It's there.
I'm ready for it now. Like I hope I find it.
Yeah.
To go ahead and just continue, and I'm not even going to be coy about it, to continue blowing you and your band.
Let me unzip quick.
um, I've been, I even said it to you before. There's a few songs on here that just overall give me like those old school elder hardcore kid vibes and like transport me back to like 2003. And I don't miss those times for anything other than my joints working better because I just want to be able to be in there fighting the invisible ninjas to the best of my abilities and not just, falling over and busting my hip.
Gotta be the arms crossed in the back of the room, old man. Now
Bobbing
I'm
your
getting
head.
close to that.
that's been me for I don't even know how long.
You know what's nice is every now and again. So I'm a relatively larger gentleman, at 6'1", 6'2", like 240, something like that. I'm a nice hefty guy here. So what's nice about that is like if when I get into that kind of that mode. So like I told you specifically in the message about it, but like if I were at your show for this, and this song or one of the other of my top five, which I'll just go ahead and say it's Under the Knife, Distributed Blood, Remedial Torture, Fear of Existence, and Dethrone. That's my top five. But there's a few of them that are in here where I would just throw both arms up and pretend like I'm like cranking the Harley, you know what I'm saying? And I
Oh.
could just I can walk side to side in a pit doing that and people are like, "Okay, he's pretty big. He might kick me if I get too close."
Yeah,
And that's all I'm going to do and then I'll just disappear into the back.
Yep. Yep. Side to side disappear guy. Yeah.
Like, "Oh man, that guy's big. I hope he's not nearby." And then like you might see me on a two-step because I mean, I'll still two-step. But you guys don't two-step. You guys don't have very many two-step beats anyway, I should say.
There's a handful, but yeah, we're not like doing them all the time. Yeah.
Right, which is fine. If that's all you had all the time, it'd get boring. But you have them on the few, and they're the ones that I can do it to, and maybe I will, maybe I won't. I think, and again, it's not just because I know you and that you told us about this, or told me about it, or whatever, when the band was coming out and that you were starting things. I'm mainly, when I go to these kind of bands, the two things, and it's funny you mentioned it earlier before we were doing the show, and how people have that feeling towards musicians, with the vocalists specifically. If they change, sometimes people won't listen to things afterward. With this music and this genre, the things that I'm listening for the most are the drummer and the musician, or the vocalist rather. I feel like this type of music needs a certain style of singer. There's so many different ways to scream, and if you don't hit those right pitches, you're not going to fit in this at all. And I feel like he does really well, and I think he does a great job with it. And then I also think the intensity that you're playing that double pace for like 90% of those songs is insane, and I'm here for it. Like that, those things are driving the song for me in a lot of the cases. And that's not to say anything against anybody else in the band because everyone's absolutely crushing it as a whole, or it wouldn't be able to sound that good. But because of what's going on, like those two things stick out really strong for me, and that's what I look for too. So I'm looking for it. So maybe that's why too. But you're doing good.
Thanks, bud. I
Yeah, you're
appreciate
doing it right.
No, that's awesome to hear, man. Thank you.
Just to piggyback off of that, I think that the mixing on this is phenomenal. And now I'm sure,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm sure, like, I'm sure you didn't do it personally, but I'm sure that you had a hand in it and being like, hey, do this, do that, crank this,
Not
turn that down.
not
No?
really. So yeah, Matt. our engineer, he's listed in the credits for this, Matt. He he's just amazing. Like he's done he did this album for us. We did the re-release, which had like some bonus tracks on it. He did that, and then he also did Sleep Sculptor's last full length. And he also just literally like yesterday, we just got done there again for the next Sleep Sculptor album. So we just go to him for everything. He's the freaking man. But yeah, he just knocks it out of the park.
I think a lot of times in heavier genres, everything kind of sounds muddy,
Oh yeah,
or you have trouble picking things out. That was not an issue at all here. Everything
yep.
is super crisp.
Yep. Yeah, he knows what he's doing, and like he did. Obviously, anytime you go to somebody, if you're, if you're not self-producing and you go to somebody, typically a lot of people, like you have a vision of kind of what sounds you like and what you're going for and stuff. And I hate when stuff is like super over compressed mud, because that's like a big trend right now in a lot of heavy music, and that stuff drives me insane. So I'm definitely glad to not fall in that camp.
Yeah, just the wall of sound. I
Yeah.
mean, that was a big problem in like the late '90s as well, and it does seem to be coming back around for whatever
Yeah.
reason. And you're just like, but it doesn't sound good. They're like, but it's loud, it's heavy as fuck. And it's like, it no.
There's a couple producers right now that are really popular that are honestly, like, I feel like they're actually actively killing what would otherwise be good music, because the
Oof.
mixes are just so like that, and I don't know, I can't get into it, but anyway.
Is that something that is like decided by the record company, or is that the producer that's doing that typically?
I guess it would depend on what kind of deal. I'd imagine there are probably bands who it is largely out of their control, and that would really suck. But
I'd be so mad about
yeah,
that.
yeah. But I feel like that's probably something more with, like I said, like, if you're like a major act, that's probably more of a thing where the label maybe has a say in what you're putting out and all that. But like, I think the band should be the final say. But I do know for a fact that there's a couple, like I said, a couple popular producers right now where bands will go to them to have their records sound like that producer, which
Okay.
I think is inherently already kind of stupid, because
Right.
I always thought like a good producer's job is to make the band sound as best as possible for that band. Like you make this band sound like the best version of themselves. You don't make them sound like your mix, if that makes sense.
Right.
But
No,
that's a big
absolutely.
problem right now.
No, absolutely. The producer is not a part of the band. They're just supposed to help finish the final product come out as good as it can, like you just said. Not change the whole thing to the point that it doesn't even matter who was in there or what they did in the first place.
Yeah, or like, yeah, I don't know. It's gotten to a point where like there's certain producers where you can, if you hear a song, you could almost be like, I bet you this guy mixed this, and then you look it up and you're like, he did. Look at that. It's because it sounds exactly like every other band that he's done or something. I don't know.
That's rough.
It's yeah.
See, that's something that you should be able to do when you're listening to rap or R&B. You should be able to be like, "Oh, I know this producer," because that's
Well,
different.
it also helps that most of them call out their name at the start of the song when
The
it
best
comes to
ones.
rap and R&B.
Just the best.
It's interesting that you bring that up though, because it's kind of so a little bit of a tangent here, but I'm actually really into electronic music.
Okay.
I like listen to a ton of electronic music, and the way that a lot of modern production is in like metal and like heavier music, and even I'm assuming probably a lot of rock and stuff, it really mirrors what I hear and see a lot in the electronic side, which I don't think is a good thing because it's like if I want to hear, like, I don't think metal should be mixed like dubstep. Dubstep should be
Right.
mixed like dubstep. Metal should, like, it doesn't work. I don't know.
No, I would absolutely agree with that. And I think that that's true. Like, why you don't want everything to sound the same. That's not the point.
Yeah, but I don't know. Maybe there's a lot of people who do. Maybe that's why it's popular. Maybe I'm old. I don't know, man.
Go yell at some clouds, old
Yeah,
man.
exactly. Yeah, I'm gonna go outside. I'm gonna yell to. I'm gonna punch my lawn.
Oh, yelling at clouds and touching grass. Perfect.
Yes, perfect.
Have we got the song for you?
Did I answer every question? I feel like I took that in a totally different direction. I'm sorry.
We are no, you're fine. We are
Okay,
no
cool.
strangers to tangents on
No,
this
yeah.
podcast.
I think that's our bread and butter.
Yeah. I have to say, again, this is kind of piggybacking off of your tangent about production, and because I listen to a fair amount of electronic music as well. One of the things, and this is only slightly related to that anyways, that almost taught me how to structure songs when writing music, oddly enough, is video game music, especially like early NES and Super Nintendo, because one of the biggest things that would happen when you're playing those games, the music's playing, whatever, when you pause the game, the volume drops, but most of the time, what happens is the melody drops out, and the pause music is just like the percussion and the bass, and it's still recognizable. So to me, it was like, this is how you put a song together. And I think I learned that from a very young age. And I know everyone will write songs differently. The process is different compared to if you're doing it by yourself or if you're doing it in a group, compared to if you're jamming on an idea or if someone comes with their one instrument and they're like, I wrote an entire song on my instrument and you're just going to write your parts to it. Which I guess that's my roundabout way of asking how your creative process works in the band. Does someone come in and like, I have a riff and that's it, we're just going to go from there? Or is it more than that? I have an entire section written with 4 instruments and we're going to go from there.
Funny enough, it's weird that you bring it up because we actually write all of our music based off of the pause menu music from old NES games.
Hell yeah, perfect.
Holy
No,
shit.
yeah, dude, it's crazy. You just hit
Wow.
that right off the rip.
Sick pull.
Yeah, it's weird. Like songs like Dethrone, actually, you could find them buried in like the pause menu of
Kid
like
Icarus.
Battletoads.
Hell yeah.
No, Mike, the guitarist, he's definitely who I would consider to be like our principal songwriter. And I think every band I've been in kind of goes usually one of two ways. A lot of times in the heavier side of stuff, like when you have music, I guess it's like really riff or groove oriented, because obviously like music like this, it isn't very like jammy or open ended. Obviously, like it's kind of like the part is the part. A lot of times the guitarist is the one who kind of ends up writing a lot of the individual parts because it is so kind of riff focused. With that being said, usually the way it works is he'll have oftentimes a riff or like a skeleton of a song, and then he will program in drums of like just like kind of placeholder stuff to kind of convey the idea of energy he's going for. And then I usually go and hang out with him after, and I usually end up fucking everything up. And I'm like, yeah, it needs more blast beats. It needs more and then you know. So I kind of try to. I usually end up amping things up, but he usually has a very solid base to work with off the rip, and then usually then we'll have Jim and Jake kind of do like if they want to do like final passes over stuff. But for the most part, that's how it's been. Is Mike does the bulk, and then I kind of mess with a lot of the rhythmic stuff, and we go from there.
Do you know how much or how much do you know of, rather, of Jake's vocals and writing process for the songs? Does he flesh out an idea after he hears the song, or does he have an idea and kind of have input too?
Oh, we all definitely have input as far as like whether or not like it might even be something like, hey, I think this should have more of like this kind of vibe, or like maybe this part just isn't doing it for me, or this part's really sick. We should do a longer like random stuff like
Hmm.
that happens all the time. But as far as his vocals go, I believe typically he will write them after like he'll have like a demo, and then he'll kind of go off the vibe of the demo. Um, and then which is helpful too, because like I said, since a lot of this music is so rhythmically oriented, a lot of times the vocals have to be they kind of have to also be very like kind of patterned or percussive, if that makes sense. So yeah, he'll typically write after the fact.
No, that makes total sense, and
Yeah.
that's kind of like one of those things where, um, again, to tie it back, it's funny how you mentioned that people are mixing this kind of music right now, and it's kind of sounding like electronic, and not that electronic's in the same vein entirely, but to rap and R&B, like that lyrically that has that same kind of thing where you have to have that on pattern, on beat, or it doesn't make sense and it doesn't
Yeah.
work.
Yep. Yeah, you have to kind of have the flow established so that you can do your thing over it.
That's good to know. And I mean, it does make sense. And it's one of those things, too. I'm sure it varies from artist to artist as well. But it's cool that you also know kind of how he works his things out, too.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure other genres are very different. It's just, I think I said anything that is kind of more in this vein. I feel like you'll probably see this kind of similar process with vocals across the board, unless unless somebody just really has a part they're trying to like go for or something. I feel like most of the time it's laid on after the fact.
Okay. The sample that you do have in this from the at the beginning and then before your breakdown era or area rather, what is that from?
I believe it's from Dexter, like the TV show.
Okay.
I'm
You
the
know
wrong
what?
person to ask about that though, but I believe that's what it's from. Mike picked out the sample.
You know what? Now that you say that, I'm fairly certain you're correct, and it's hilarious that you did this for me because my brain works weird sometimes. If I'm correct, it's when Dexter's having a flashback moment to when his dad was taking him hunting,
This
and it
sounds
was like
correct.
it was right around the time when like his dad was starting to figure out that there was something a little bit different about him as a kid. All right.
Yeah, that sounds accurate. I believe that's like man. The last time I saw that show was probably like when it was on TV.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm pulling from deep subconscious here, but I believe
Right.
you're correct.
That's kind of where mine is too, because I watched it quite a bit. Because like there were some Easter eggs in that show, so it was good to rewatch it every now and again. But yeah, I think my favorite part of that whole show is surprise, motherfucker,
Yes, yeah, classic.
supplies, motherfucker,
Yeah,
some
dude.
fries, motherfucker.
I love that video. All rise, motherfucker.
Yes. Oh my God. Can I tell you really quickly that I literally had a conversation with my 10-year-old in the car the other day. We were talking about memes and brain rot. And he was saying like how he's like, oh, all memes are brain rot now, or brain rot is the meme thing right now. I'm like, that might be the case. I'm like, but memes weren't brain rot back in my day. And he's like, what are you talking about? You know what you're talking about. I'm like, dude, I was around when the internet was born. You can't tell me that I don't know what's going on with this stuff. Memes used to literally be just a fucking minion that said banana, and old people loved that shit. And it's progressed from there. But the best one ever was literally Dokes. It was the picture of just Dokes in that scene, and it was just those different quotes on it. One of them was like the Little Mermaid, and I can't remember what that one was now.
Yeah, dude, there were so many.
There were infinite
Yeah.
amounts. Scoops, do you remember any? Do you know this meme format we're talking about? Yes.
No, I, I,
There
I
was
must
a
admit to it.
there was a video, like a guy did a spoof video where he did a bunch of them and like would dress different and stuff. That was really funny. But yeah, it's literally this guy saying surprise motherfucker, but like they just put like 400 other phrases to it.
And that, kids, was a meme.
Yep. But you know what though? I kind of get it when they say that like memes and brain rot are the same thing cuz I sometimes I think about some of the memes that we had and I'm like, "Oh yeah, man, like if like a 10-year-old saw this shit today, they'd be like
What is
it's
this?
like the same thing. It's the exact same thing."
See, that's the problem. We talk about this and then we show our age because I'm like, what the hell is tongue sahur? That's I.
Dude,
What?
It's like, yeah.
yeah, I don't know. Whenever YouTube signs me out, the shit that I see on the front page, I'm like, what is going on here? This,
This can't be real.
What
yeah.
what the hell was the whole skibbity toilet thing? Which thank God, I'm pretty sure that's
See, but all
over.
right, that's kind of what I'm talking about. Is like when I finally saw what Skibbity Toilet was. It's literally just a Gmod video, and I'm like, dude, I watched stupid fucking Gmod videos when I was in like middle school.
Yeah,
So I feel it's just like full circle. I don't know.
it kind of is.
I had one more callback that I had to ask you about too. James, you mentioned yourself how there's certain tropes that get played out and they get used in certain things, and sometimes it's for a good reason, and sometimes just really has been played out. And I want to call you out on two of them, and you have to answer for them right now. Okay?
Okay.
The first one, you had like the perfect breakdown because it was the hunting scene for the gun, the or anything along those lines, or the gun shot before the breakdown, and you
I know what
didn't
you're gonna
do it.
say.
What the hell?
Yep. I know. Yep. Yep.
Like, I envision it's there. It's my own fault for doing it. I'm missing it. Come on, guys.
No, see, that's subverting expectations, though, Steven.
Exactly.
That's giving you the musical equivalent of blue
Exactly.
balls.
Actually, little tiny fun fact. The first track on the album specifically starts with 3 snare hits because of that. I was like, we do 3 snare hits because everybody's gonna expect a fourth one, but bam, you're in.
You son of a bitch.
Yep, it's good though. I love that shit.
That is great. And then the other one, your band name is readable. What the fuck?
Oh, we're not that kind of band. Yeah, no, we're not quite there.
You're on a bunch of like random branches and squiggly lines that somehow form a word.
No,
And
I
I have to
liked
take
those
your word for
logos
it.
when I was like a teenager, but not in my 30s.
I just didn't. I never knew what they were, and I was just like, I can't read it. And you're pretty much just saying that that's a word, and it's not. It's a logo, and that's fine. But call it what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then there are the bands that their logo looks like that, but their band name is also impossible to pronounce, like Sanguisugabog or something
Oh
like that,
yeah, yeah.
who are playing at the Electric Factory next month. But I saw their name on the flyer and I was like, I've never actually heard that band name pronounced. I've only just seen it.
I believe you're correct.
Hey, look at that.
Yeah, Sanguisugabog. That's how I've always said it.
I'm waiting for it to be something completely different, where it's actually like Butterfly Dream.
Oh, that's definitely a thing. Actually, there's a couple ones I remember. They're like satirical bands or whatever, where they have like the most ridiculous logo, and the band's name just isn't that, or like isn't in it, or something like.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I don't think I mentioned the name of the album, so folly on me for that. But this is off Embrace the Dying Sun, which just came out 3 months ago.
See, it's been out. We released this album last year.
Sorry, the deluxe came out 3 months ago. My
Yes.
apologies.
Yeah, and then we re-released like a deluxe because we got hooked up with our label Paper Cut, and they wanted to release the album, and so we went back and kind of got some spice together to make it a little bit more interesting, and did a re-release. So yeah, it has like 2 redone versions of the songs from the EP, Distributed Blood and Under the Knife. Like we redid those for the album, and then we have a new track as well, Terminal Lucidity at the end there.
Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't even realize that they were on here. I was always, yeah, I'm used to listening to them off of
Oh
the
yeah,
EP.
yeah. They're different, so you might get a little bit of whiplash, but I actually really like the new versions. I think they're better. So
Interesting.
yeah, check them out. Let me know what you think. Under the Knife has a death metal part in it now, which is sick. Like just a
Okay.
full blown bell blast kind of thing going on.
Oh, fuck yeah. Now I'm interested. It got me more excited. That's great. So, you mentioned that you recently were, was it, did you apply to them? Did they find you? Did you, how did that work for you?
I believe Mike submitted us. They had like an online submission thing. They were looking for bands because they're a pretty new label.
Okay.
They are like they're established, they're established in the business. But the Paper Cut themselves as a label is like a new project from those guys. So yeah, so he submitted us, and they loved the album, and we hooked up, and everything sounded cool, and yeah, so we've just been working with them.
Nice. Where are they based?
Oh, geez, I don't know. It's in the States somewhere, but
Okay.
yeah.
I wasn't sure if it was something that was like local and they're going to be
No,
like
no.
kind of promoting local stuff for you, or if it's going to be something that's just bigger picture.
It's definitely aiming to be more bigger picture for sure.
Now, is this something that like, are you, I don't know that anything could be disclosed fully, full disclosure, and say what you can. But what kind of things can we expect from you in the near future? Like, I know it's weird asking about a new album or like a tour or like a either supporting somebody or your own headline tour. Is there anything kind of conversations going on about that? Are there any kind of ideas?
So we're right now we are. I think we're trying to figure out vinyl for the album.
Okay.
So that should be happening in the very near future. Is like to get like getting this pressed so we can have those on hand and sell them online or at shows or whatever. We've still been just trying to do like we're definitely trying to work towards doing what I don't know, a couple weeks or a month or whatever. But we've been doing a lot of kind of like 3-4 day things for now. Um, it's kind of I don't know, still kind of feeling everything out. But yeah, I think the next step is vinyl. Just keep playing wherever we can, and then probably get back to writing. I'd imagine within probably by the end of the year. Yeah, it's kind of interesting with me because since I'm in 3 different projects. One kind of does something, and then then the next one kind of does something, and then the next one does, and it's kind of like ping ponging back and forth. So
Well, man, that's what happens when you're a drummer,
yeah,
because
it is.
drummers are always in short supply. You can find 8 million guitarists and 3 million bassists and God knows how many vocalists, but drummers are always in short supply.
Yep, yep.
At least you'll always have work.
It's yeah. Um, my day job is actually I teach drums, so I'm trying to alleviate that problem at least in my area. I'm gonna raise these kids
Nice.
to play blast beats on their own.
There you go.
I gotta say, there's probably a pretty big market for that, right? Like, no memeing about it. No, not being sarcastic. Like, I'm sure there's a lot of kids that would love to learn how to do that just because of like how cool it sounds.
Oh, I mean, I feel like a lot of kids don't get into it because of that, but it definitely is appealing once if I kind of slowly start to introduce like heavier stuff. But a lot of times, kids will find this stuff on their own. I feel like getting into drums is a really good way to kind of. I feel like drums are probably the best instrument if you're like as far as if you start learning it, you really kind of open your mind to like any kind of music because they're just so ubiquitous. Like they're just everywhere in every genre. It doesn't matter. So people seem to be a lot more receptive to trying out some other styles of music.
Would you say, as a teacher, what was like the weirdest time? Like if a kid was like, "Oh, I want to learn how to play this song." Like, what's the weirdest song that you heard someone ask you to teach? And
The
then what was
weirdest song.
also, yeah, like one that you're just like, "Why do you want to learn?" Okay.
Okay, yeah, I got you.
And then also, what was the one where you're like, "Ah, this kid's pretty cool." You're listening to Blank already? Sick. All right, I'll
Yeah,
teach
yeah,
you
yeah.
this. Like, well,
I
do
actually,
you have
yeah,
an idea for
I
either
have
of those, or?
I have super obvious answers, yeah. So I have one of my students right now came in maybe like a month or two ago, and he said he wanted to learn "Stranded" by Gojira, and I'm like, "Fuck yeah,
Hell
dude!"
yeah.
Yeah, I was
That's
like,
awesome.
"Absolutely." He's like, yeah, he's like 12, and I'm like, "Yes, 100%."
Be playing some Mario shit. My
Exactly. I'm
God.
like, he told me that, and I was like, "Yes, this is a good drummer for you to get into, buddy."
That's
So
awesome.
yeah, so that one was super sick. And then on the flip side, one of my students, dude, it's some of the, being a teacher is crazy. Sometimes, Steve, you have kids, right?
Yep.
And then
My oldest is a
Scoop, do you?
10-year-old, and then I've got a baby.
Okay. And do you have kids?
I have 2 cats.
Okay, gotcha. So no. Some people would say yes, but that doesn't apply to what I'm about to say. The stuff that kids are like into now and like growing up on is insane. I had one of my students who, once again probably like somewhere, 10, 11, 12 years old in that range. He pulled up a playlist on Spotify and he just goes he's like, "Hey, this is the Brain Rot 2026 playlist." I'm like, "All right, what do we got here?" And he starts just playing songs off this playlist that are just like dude, I don't know. It was like I'm assuming it was all made by AI because it had that vibe, but it was just like you know the most trash you've ever heard in your life. But like, something like that. Or like I had one kid ask me if we could learn like a Takashi 6ix9ine song, and I literally just
Oh,
said no. So it's like no, we're not listening to that in here.
you can learn that one on your own time, bud.
Yeah. I was like, you can figure that one out at home, bud.
There's this one kind of music, I can't remember the name of it. There's like a genre my kid was listening to that his like best friend listens to, and it's some kind of like weird form of techno, or not techno, but like in that drum and bass kind of thing. I can't remember
Yeah.
what it's called. There's a specific name for it. He'll yell at me for not knowing what it is. Scoobs, I might have asked you about it at one point. I don't know if you remember.
If there is any genre that is more like subgenre than metal, it is electronic. So I
Yeah.
can't like
Yeah, that's
it's
very fair.
it's liquid jungle concrete D&B.
Actually, I
Yeah.
What?
think that was it.
Yeah.
Oh god.
It's funny too because like electronic music will even go so far as to have different subgenres that arguably sound identical except for the BPM, which is
Yeah.
crazy. Like they'll literally be the same thing, but like, yeah, well, this one actually is like 120 to 140, and this one's like 140 to 160. It's like, okay, sure.
It's like they just add more adjectives in front of it. It's like, well, drum and bass isn't specific enough, so this is liquid drum and bass. What makes it liquid? I don't know. Just sounds cool.
Well, I actually know the answer to that, but
Oh hell yeah! No, I want to hear it.
oh really?
Yeah,
So liquid is like typically I guess it becomes a lot more obvious if you like hear liquid versus
like side by
non-liquid.
side. Yeah,
Yeah, liquid is very much melodic and kind of atmospheric to some degree. Like there's not really any emphasis on like the bass part or like it being kind of heavy or driving. It's usually a lot more like airy and kind of synthy and open sounding, like hence the liquid. It kind of it kind of sounds like it's more like flowy in a way, if that makes sense. um
absolutely. So
yeah.
I think I actually like, I think I actually like liquid drum and bass. Now that I
Yeah,
know the
yeah.
distinction, I'm like, oh no, that sounds like something I'm into. So
Yep. And a lot of times liquid some of the more like underground liquid stuff, that's when you start to get into the stuff that sounds like PlayStation 1 music, like, that
yeah,
underwater level of like a old platformer game. That's like kind of the more niche liquid stuff.
yeah, that sounds like something my hipster ass loves.
Hmm.
I had a question, maybe not really a question, more like a query to see how other people feel about it, and get other people read the room. I want to
Hmm.
pull the room rather.
Yeah, vibe check.
Yeah. So you mentioned that you guys were making vinyl. I have my fair share of vinyl that is metal, and I never really understood where that sudden like I understood people like the resurgence in vinyl to an extent. I think Scoobs and I might have talked about this at one point, but like the big thing with vinyl was like old vinyl had a certain sound to it, and like a certain like realness to it because it was usually recorded in the room, like that kind of stuff. Vinyl. Then like current vinyl is more pressed, and I never understood where people were getting interested in collecting vinyl, but it always seems to be that it's either like hip hop, rap kind of genre areas, and then the metal genres are like the two biggest vinyl collectors.
I th- I think it's actually super like to me. I think it's super obvious. I've never actually delved into this or done any research, but I've always made a really obvious connection in my brain as to why that happened. So for me, what I think it is because I kind of think like when we were kids, it was like we still had like CDs and CD players and shit. And so like I had a music collection physically, like I could see it, it was on my shelf.
Okay.
And like I think when MP3s blew up, and then you had your iPods and stuff, and now we're just at the point where it's all streaming off your phone. I think people that are genuinely into music still really want to have a physical representation of their collection, and I think that's all it is. And I think vinyl is the coolest physical medium for music because the presentation's usually like nuts, like the actual vinyls themselves, the way they're like splattered and all that
Yeah.
stuff. And then like the you get the big gatefold with all the art, you get the lyrics. Like it's just kind of like the coolest way to physically have music, I think. um, so I think collectors just kind of really gravitated towards it, and It's like if you're not really gonna, if you can listen to everything off your phone and you want to, but you still want to own something, it's just like, the most premium way to do it, I guess.
No, that kind of makes a lot of sense now that you say it that way. And also because if you're going to be putting together a stereo system to be able to use it, because like you mentioned, no one's carrying around a CD player anymore. They don't
Yeah.
even make CD players in cars anymore. That kind of thing is like, why would you collect CDs when you can collect vinyl? Because, like you mentioned, if you're going to have that full art inside of that thing, one of the coolest things about collecting CDs, Scoobs had a nostalgic run on this the one day about saying how there used to be a lyric page involved. Now
Yep.
it's just like a card.
Yep. Yep. I remember being a kid and like anytime I'd buy a new CD, dude, it, like while I was listening to it, I'd parse through the booklet.
No, that makes sense.
I completely agree. As someone who has a fairly extensive vinyl collection, it just the presentation of it just makes you feel cool. I don't know. I don't think there's any other way to really describe it, but just
Yeah.
like you pull out the vinyl, you put it into the player, you put the needle down, and then you can like stand the album artwork up and like stare at it while you listen to the music. And it just I think another big part of it, like you said, is knowing that you own it, which is becoming more and more of a commodity these days with
Oh yeah.
everything. You don't actually own anything. Sure, you subscribe to Spotify or whatever, you've got Steam, but the second Steam goes under, God forbid that ever happens, your library of
My
one,
500 games.
yeah, is gone. You don't own it. They can
Yep.
take any of those games away at any moment. It's like buying the quote unquote physical copy of GTA 6 that's coming out, which is a
Yeah, sure.
box with a code in it. Yeah, sure. I
Yeah.
want to do that.
Yeah.
So
And I think it's
owning
also to
owning media is very important, I
yeah.
think.
And I think to your point too, which is kind of ties in with what Steve was saying about cars don't even have CD players anymore. So like the way if you're going to buy music physically, like why not buy the vinyl and know that you're going to have the best sounding product to use on your big fancy at home speakers and have it sound super awesome because you never have to take them anywhere, right?
Yeah.
The portability doesn't matter anymore. That's on your phone. So like when you're at home and you want like the real premium experience, you got the vinyl, you got the high quality, you can sit on your sofa and just actually listen to something. So it makes sense, I think.
That adds up. It all adds up. I think if I had any other question to put you on the spot with, do you have a
Trump?
top three of your? What you say?
So you want to talk about Trump?
We'll do that
Anyway,
off
no,
the
sorry.
record,
Go
I
ahead. Go
think.
ahead.
No. If I had anything else to put you on the spot, do you have maybe a top three or a favorite song with this band right now that you're willing to disclose with us?
This might sound cliche, but I don't really care. Terminal Lucidity, I think, is my favorite song of ours right now, which is our newest song. But I
Hmm.
do legitimately think it is our best song so far, which I think is a good place to be, right? Like, yeah, hopefully most people will think the newest thing is the best thing they've done, but I really do think Terminal Lucidity is my favorite right now. I feel like it's got a good mix of everything that we're trying to do, and yeah, super fun to play live. Big fan of that one.
I was going to ask if that was a deciding factor or not. Was how much fun is it to play live, and how does it translate live
Yeah,
versus?
that's really big for I feel like for a lot of people in bands, it
Yes.
kind of weighs pretty heavy on how much you like it. But I don't know. There's some of the songs we don't play live, but I still think they're bangers. It's just you know it depends on when you're building a set, you kind of have to have your ebbs and flows and all that, and sometimes stuff doesn't really fit. But yeah,
It is very, very important to actually have fun playing the music you're playing. Because I've been in situations where I've been in bands and playing songs, and every time we would play certain songs, I'd just be like, ugh, ugh.
yeah.
And that's a shitty feeling.
Yep. Dude, I can't imagine imagine being in like a band that's like a legacy act and like you played the same hit for like 20 years. Sometimes I think about that. I'm like those people must like want to blow their brains out.
So one of the biggest examples I can think of is my very first band in high school was a ska band. and we played Beer by Real Big Fish at every
Mhm.
show. And I'm like, if I'm sick of playing this song, I wonder how fucking sick Real Big Fish is of playing this
Dude,
goddamn song.
exactly. Or like you think about like a band like I don't know. This is totally random. I don't know why I just thought of this, but you know Kansas.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Imagine like
Do I know
imagine going to a
Kansas?
yeah. Imagine like you go to like a Kansas concert and you know they're playing for like 2 hours at least. And you know 90% of the crowd is just waiting for Carry On My
Carry
Wayward
on.
Son.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like if I was in Kansas, dude, I'd be like, "Oh my god!"
With this shit
like,
again.
yeah,
Is that their equivalent to Freebird?
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
100%.
Oh
Yeah,
totally.
yep.
Along with that, one of my favorite quotes from Real Big Fish is there's a secret track on an album. I don't even, it might have been Cheer Up. They play the song, and at the end you hear the lead singer go, "You know, at first when I heard the song, I thought, ugh, but now I really hate it." And I
Yeah.
don't think they've ever played it live.
That's awesome.
I mean, that's all the notes I had as well. I kind of covered where I was at. I mentioned my top five. I mentioned the album. So one last thing, just to kind of cut back into you and the band as well. Is there anything going on in about, I don't know, 3 to 4 weeks, give or take, that you know about for any kind of little shows that you want to promote or kind of throw out there?
In 3 to 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Let me take a look.
I was gonna say if you have anything, yeah, perfect.
So right now, the only things on my calendar for shows are actually Toothless is doing a run from August 6th to 9th. That's about it. We're still trying to book. Fall's kind of iffy a lot of the time, so sometimes it slows down. But
Okay.
um, yeah, Toothless will be doing some New England stuff in like 2 weeks, but that's about it.
Dang. Well, if something does come up, we can probably work it out then, and we can add something in, maybe, or if not, we can at least call it out on the posts when we're doing social media. So,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, as far as things to promote, obviously, the deluxe is still relatively new, so if people want to go check that out, that'd be awesome. You can find it on everything. Obviously, you can get it on Bandcamp. Send us some money if you want, if you like it. We got some merch online. Come check us out at a show. And then if you want to check out anything else I'm doing, I play in a band called Toothless, which is more in the kind of like metallic hardcore, Every Time I Die, Chariot, Dillinger, Escape Plan kind of stuff if you're into that. And I also play in a band called Sleep Sculptor, which is very much like a mathcore, deathcore kind of stuff. That band's like super cracked, so kind of we go from cracked to super cracked. That's the scale, but yeah, check out all that stuff. Sleep Sculptor will have new music in the near future. Toothless released an album earlier this year. Super proud of that one. A lot going on.
as Scoob said earlier, a drummer is never bored, right?
Yeah, yeah. I never get to stop. Not that I want to. I think it kind of works out.
You know, I have one more question now. Now that I just realized it, because you said you go from cracked to super cracked. So, being that there are those differences between the three, do you feel like you're getting a little bit of like something different out of each band, so you can do like one kind of thing that you enjoy doing with Sleep Sculptor versus
Yeah,
the other, or
yeah.
do you?
For sure. Yeah, it's kind of like it is all within the heavy music realm, but it is three very distinctly different types of heavy music that I'm into all three of them a lot. So it's cool to have those outlets. Um, Actually, at this point, I would love to play drums in something not heavy at all, but that would mean a fourth project, and I don't know about that, but we'll see. I've been itching to play something like I usually when I practice at home, it's actually I play like a lot of jazz, a lot of stuff that's kind of just like super drum focused but not heavy, and be cool to get into some stuff like that. But
If you ever want to play pop punk, I got
Probably
some,
not.
yeah, I figured. I was gonna be like, I got some like progressive pop punk ideas that have been rattling in my brain for like 10 years now.
I mean, progressive pop punk sounds interesting. I'd be down to hear what that sounds like, but
Yeah.
yeah.
You heard it here first, guys.
My
A
fourth
future fourth
project.
project coming
Yeah.
soon. Progressive
Yeah.
pop punk.
Progressive pop punk, and then my fifth project will be like jazz fusion, electronic hybrid.
Oh, hey, if you want to do like gent jazzcore, that would always be fun too.
Yeah, we just
Can
start
I?
smashing words together.
The problem with that is you don't actually need a guitarist, so I wouldn't need to be involved. You
Yeah,
just
just a
need,
laptop.
yeah, you need a keyboardist, a saxophone player, and a drummer.
Oh, that actually sounds fucking sick.
Oh, well then
That
let me
sounds
give
sick.
you a recommendation for a band called Everything Yes.
All right, hell yeah, I'll check
Yeah,
it out.
yeah.
Man, I love when our show comes full circle.
It usually does. That's we bottleneck everything.
I'm happy with that though. No, like we have like we're song recommendations to each other. I like it.
This is Zach Grooves.
Hell yeah, it is.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
their
Yeah, I'm familiar with
albums
his
have
stuff.
they do jazz, but their albums have been becoming progressively heavier.
That's cool.
So yeah.
And then you guys check out Barbarians of California.
I definitely will today. I'm about to take my dog for a walk actually, so
Dude, it'll be really good walk music. You're gonna start running. Your dog's
I'm
gonna
gonna
be like, stop!
put. That's great. I was gonna say I'm putting that on, and then I'm gonna put on Dethrone because I want to hear the
Nick
cameo that I
Cage.
didn't know
Yep.
existed, and then I'm gonna put on Terminal Lucidity because I don't think I heard that one. Actually, I'm gonna put all three on there because I didn't hear the two new versions.
Nice.
So I'm gonna
Hope you
listen to
dig 'em.
those. I got a 5 song playlist for my 20-minute walk. That's perfect. But yeah, I think that'll about do it then, which means it's my cue to for the third time in a row now. We're gonna do the live social media callouts. I don't think anyone's heard it yet, other than Scoobs. So James, you're in for a treat. No one else has heard that.
All
The
right.
first time I did it hasn't come out yet. But yeah, it's time for me to ask you, the listener, to help us out. If you aren't already following us on Instagram, where you can find us as the feedback underscore PC, or on Facebook, where you will find us as the feedback, please follow us, give us a share, tell your friends about us. That was the number one way we talked about it. It was word of mouth. That's kind of how we're transferring music today. You heard us give multiple examples of it to each other just right now, and I know each and every one of us is going to go listen to those bands because we're really into music, and we hope that you are too, because that's probably why you're here. But yeah, we're on YouTube as well, where you'll find a lot of playlists that we've made. Maybe not infinite amounts of them, but there's a good amount. And I'd appreciate it, and we'd all appreciate it if you just gave us a listen, a share, comment, a little vote, a little rating, if you will. Tell us what you liked. Tell us what your favorite episode was. Yeah. Go do that. Thanks.
You can also even shit on us because any publicity is good publicity at this point. A hate listen is still a listen.
You're damn right.
That's right. Real quick, I would like to do my due diligence and give a shout out to the artist Exile who created the intro and outro music for our podcast. That track is called Egg. Through Exile's kind heart, we are allowed to use it as long as we give him a shout out, which I do nearly every week, except for those 2 times that I
I think there
forgot.
was more than two,
Shut up,
actually.
Steven. It was twice, I think. I don't know. Maybe you're right. But most importantly, our guest today, please give us your social media shoutouts for all of your bands and yourself, whatever you'd like.
Yeah, well, yes. Thanks for having me, guys. It was a good time, great time. Uh, I have, yeah, like I said, I play in 3 bands. Scorched Mind, you could find Scorched Mind Band if you search it. I think we're on Instagram as Scorched Mind Band, but anywhere else, if you just look up Scorched Mind, we're there. We're on Spotify, we're on Apple Music, all that stuff. Um, Toothless is usually toothless.band. If you look up Toothless Band, we should show up. Obviously, you're going to see the dragon from DreamWorks pop up a lot. That's not
Ha!
us.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, that's not us. It could be, but we're not there yet. And then we have Sleep Sculptor, which usually is Sleep Sculptor PA for Pennsylvania. Same thing. We're on all the platforms. And then my personal Instagram is j.toothless. If you want to follow me there, I'm really terrible at social media though. So the most you'll probably see is me sharing other band stuff, or maybe me playing drums at some point.
And then, what's the best way for anybody listening today, say somehow magically somebody from somewhere wants to get you to play a song, or not play a song, play a show? What's the best way to get in touch with the band for that to happen?
Usually, I think messages on Instagram. That's always us that handles all of that. So that's usually a good way to get in touch with us. But yeah, we'll basically at this point, if we can make a run out of something, we'll play damn near anywhere. So
That's awesome. And that means anywhere within a what mile radius of northeastern Pennsylvania.
like I say, if we can make a run out of it, we will play anywhere.
I love it. I love
Yep.
it. But yeah, as Scoob said before, thank you for being our first guest ever, and also letting us, gush about you while you're here, and then also speak critically of other things too.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, thanks for having me. It was a good time.
Sweet. Scoobs, is that it then? I think we're good, right?
I think we're good, as long as any final thoughts from either of you two? Non-political.
Oh, I was about to say it. It's good
I
that you said
I
that.
heard it coming. I heard it coming.
The tension, it was there.
You've learned how I work in the past hour.
Yeah.
Now we're good,
Well,
I think. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for being here. To our listeners, thank you for listening, and join us next week for whatever we happen to dig up next. Goodbye.
I do that mostly because I don't want you to have to hear it in like high def later when you're like nitpicking through audio, just to hear like bleh.
Oh, that'd be awesome though. He could do like a super cut. It's just the all throat noise
Oh
episode.
man, I should do that one of these days.
Just here's 30 minutes of uncut throat sounds.
You know what's funny? I feel like that's gonna be the thing that you put on YouTube that gets the most views.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
I'm just worried about what kind of people are going to listen to that.
Well, you'd see like a 2-minute clip, like a TikTok reel or something. People would be sharing, like, guys, I found this podcast, and it's just like people clearing their throat at each other.
Yeah, that's true. The worst part about it though is like we'd have like how many episodes just sitting there with like 30 views, and then that one has like 8 million.
Yeah, but then that makes all of your other ones get more. It's
I thought the episode was good. Not enough throat clearing though.
Yeah. Yep.
I can't wait for the throat clearing episodes. Bring back more throat clearing.
Yeah, guys, when are you gonna go back to that old shit?
The name checks out, Bean Jovi.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like if Bon Jovi was a bean.
I get it. What would that be like? What would that be like? I'm wondering now.
It would, like, imagine like a bean.
Okay.
Okay. Like whichever kind, doesn't matter. Then like
Lentil.
Bon Jovi's face, just like put it right on that bean. You know what I'm saying?
So his entire body is the bean.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
If
face.
you look at my Discord picture, it's what I'm talking about.
It's a head on the bean though. See, I
Yeah.
was thinking. Okay, I get it now. All right, I was thinking that you meant like the bean was everything, and like the face was just on the bean. Like he was just a single shape.
Oh no, he's got a head on the bean. Yeah. That's
Gotcha.
important. That's an important distinction.